What's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I'm going to talk about fullbacks and centre back, why are they still viable and why I use them. Now first of all, a disclaimer, you have to understand most of this community are kids. You know, they're like sheep. They follow the most popular kid in school. So when someone says that this is my Twitter, by the way, feel free to follow me on twitter.com/NealGuides. Most of these guys are kids, remember this. And the funniest thing is the guys that are using centre backs are the ones that are sad enough to park the bus. So don't worry what most of these guys say. Don't forget, most of these guys are kids. They sit there, they watch pack openings, they get excited. Thankfully, most of my viewers are between 30 and 40-year-old, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm sure there's one or two there, so feel free to unsubscribe. It actually serves me a benefit by unsubscribing. But for the older people that want to get better, fullbacks are still effective. And if anyone that's got an issue, go write Bell a letter and tell him that you can't play in striker or winger because he's a left back. Go write him a letter anyway. But let me just get into the videos. I wanted to make that clear because everyone just keeps crying and I'm sick of it, honestly. It's sickening that all these grown adults are crying about this. But fullbacks are still effective as long as they've got a high defensive work rate. That is the most important thing. Now, if you're like myself, most fullbacks, I play very aggressive. Most people that use fullbacks, they like to play very aggressive. When I'm pressing, I like to run from A to Z, not America, but A to Z as fast as I can. So the better pace I have, the faster I can press my opponent. So let's think about this logically, okay? So if my opponent has the ball, and let's say he's parking the bus, and I can't get the ball off him, how am I going to defend the ball against him? Is that I have to press him, and with my fast fullbacks, I can go forward, be very aggressive, and then run back and recover. That is the first thing. Now you're going to say to me the defensive awareness nerf. Now, I hope no one uses fullbacks, only my viewers, because that way I don't hope the nerf gets removed completely. Yes, they lose them defensive awareness. Now, we don't know what. EA have not told us. I'm going to say roughly maybe, let's just say a numerical value, let's say -10. Okay, let's just say. I don't know. But as long as they have high defensive work rates, you are fine, in my opinion. If it has medium, you can get away with it, but you have to be a good defender. And I'm talking about an elite defender. With a high defensive work rates, they're in good positions. They stay in line. They are perfect. Most attackers are very fast anyway. So that way you can play more attacking. And that way if your opponent counters you, you have enough pace to run back and recover. That is the first thing. There's some other obvious differences when it comes to fullbacks. Now, personally speaking, in case you're wondering why Robertson's over here, it's because normally I play Mane there, and then you get the Mane gets the green link because of Robertson. So that's why he's there for chemistry, in case you're wondering. Now, what you should do is ideally the fullback that you want on full chemistry, try to play them in the. So let's say you're playing a left back and centre back, play him in left back first, then move him in the centre. The reason for that is that he actually gets the higher boost in the beginning, and he still gets nerfed, but he doesn't get nerfed as much. The second thing is agility and balance. Now, this is the main reason that I do it. The reason why Wan-Bissaka is one of the best centre-backs in the game, in my opinion, and the reason why the team of the season for Wan-Bissaka, his shot flew up. And I told you, as soon as that guy came out, I told you he's the best centre-back in the game. His price flew up straight away just because of agility and balance. People don't know this, but the manual jockeying this year is L2 and R2. This year is hard to defend. With the high agility and balance you have, the run and jockey to make it a bit easier to understand is smoother. You can turn quicker with the better agility and balance. So defensively, you have more stability. So yes, you might lose the defense. Maybe they might not be in a... Let's say, for example, you got a back line of 4. They're going to still stay in line. Let's say someone does a through ball. They might not be the best placed position, but if you switch them, you're fine all the time. That's why I say don't worry about the defensive awareness too much. If it was a CDM, then I would say, okay, it's a bit of a different situation because of cut passing lanes, instructions, the way to position. But for centre backs, they're going to stay in line. People think, oh, fullbacks, they're disproportionate. One goes here. No, it's not like that. As long as they've got high defensive work rates, they are fine. And agility and balance works on both ends. I also like to dribble outside the box with my fullbacks. Now, this is important because of course, when you're moving forward, don't forget that the player on the ball is going to be clunky. Now, the reason why I bring this up is it's actually quite important. And it's the reason why I don't go for the likes of Varane. Now, Varane is a top-tier centre-back. Defensively, he's class. He's class on the grass, as people would say. He's a very, very good centre-back. But the problem is he hasn't got the balance. Now, in bad gameplay, if you try to walk out with this guy and try to out-dribble someone, and I'm talking about, let's say Pete Gorilla was like to press you, yeah? You've got no chance. Someone like Texas Gorilla is pressing you. You've got no chance. And with someone with Varane, they're so hard to maneuver. And given the fact that they haven't got the best weak foots anyway, you're kind of restricted on one foot. You need to be able to dribble to outmaneuver your opponent. Just like in real life, our fullbacks, centre backs now kind of have to move the ball forward. Just like our goalkeepers have to distribute the ball, same thing with centre backs. They have to now be able to pass the ball and distribute. That's why some of the players in Arsenal, I said to them no. So it's the same thing in FIFA. The logic still applies. You need to have someone that's got good passing and good dribbling, so you can outmaneuver your opponent. Because if someone's coming towards you and pressing, you gotta take a left stick touch the other way. The lower the balance, the more lethargic they're gonna be, and the slower it would be. Because don't forget, they've got lower balance, lower agility. And that means that, of course, when you're defending and when you're attacking, the high agility balance is important. Also, most fullbacks have better passing compared to most players. You'll find that most fullbacks, compared to Walker's maybe an odd example, but someone, for example, like, let's say a Tal, for example, has got a 5-star weak foot. A lot of these guys have really good weak foots, sometimes decent, not that skill moves are important for a centre back, but they've got decent skill moves and they've got decent passing. So the distribution, especially driven passes from the centre backs to the CDM, I mean, that's a hard thing to do, but it's more viable. That's an example. So if you do spam driven through balls, you shouldn't, by the way. It's a very beneficial factor of having better passing, because you can move the ball from defence to attack much more safer, okay? And then it comes to the pace. Now, if I'm playing aggressive, people don't understand this, okay? They look at the rating of the player and they think that is a do-all and die-all. I would rather have a bronze player with 99 sprint speed and 10 defending, as opposed to a gold card that's 90 rated with 99 defending and then 75 pace. Now, some of you are going to be like to me, what are you talking about? Now, for most players, they would go with the latter. I understand that. But the reason is because pace equals recovery. If you can get from, this is not like real life. In real life, you can have someone like Mustafi, and so you can have someone like Koscielny and Mertesacker, a really good combination, okay? Or like Van Dijk and Gomez. One guy's intelligent enough to run back, one guy can stand still. In FIFA, it's not 11 different players on the pitch, 11 different minds. It's one guy controlling every single player. So if one guy commits forward and AI does that, you have to be able to run back with the other player, and you can't have one slow guy or one fast guy. You need two fast guys. And that's why the pace equals, most of the goals you will concede is because you're getting done from a counter attack. Or let's say, for example, you have the ball inside the box, let's say, for example, like here, and you try to go towards your opponent. By the time you get there, he shoots towards goal. If you get from here to here faster, you're going to get the ball. Now, you're going to say to me is, okay, what? That doesn't make sense. But let me give you an example. When it comes to finishing, if someone's got 99 finishing and 95 finishing, let's say you put it in percentage terms, that's 5%. Statistically speaking, that's a big number. That means in 100 games, out of 100 shots, in theory, let's say they're good shots, 5 of them are going to go in more of the time. That could potentially equal 5 extra wins, potentially, assuming that one goal is for every other game. So that's the big difference. Now, finishing is a big factor, but when you're defending, now I'm sure you've had a situation where you've had the ball with like your defender, and so your opponent striker, like Son, comes towards and he tackles the ball. He tackles the ball with 34 stand tackling. It's because if you press the tackle button and you time it correctly, you're going to get the ball regardless. A lot of people don't know that. So that is why I don't prioritize stand tackling. For me, it's the sprint, speed, and agility and balance first. Because when you're defending, the position is the most important. If you're in front of your opponent, he can't shoot towards goal. AI block would be there. But if you're far away, by the time you get there, you shoot. You've conceded anyway. So think about this. Like, let's say, okay, I'll give you a better example, okay? Your opponent's taking a shot outside the box. If you're too slow to close him down, especially if you're not that good of a player, you might be too slow, your positioning might not be good. The pace will kind of overcompensate for your bad positioning because you can run back in time. And that's the most important thing, especially with defending. If you go watch your favorite pro player after this. Remember what I say. Their positioning is 10-10. For them, they can use centre backs because they don't make mistakes. They're try hard and they're not making any mistakes. But for the average player, even myself when I'm streaming, I'm running out my centre backs trying to press all the time. I'm going to be making mistakes. I got to have the pace to recover. And that is the most important thing. So it's not only just, of course, the pace, and generally speaking, the aggression and the strength is kind of something that I've mentioned. If you get to the ball first, strength and aggression are irrelevant if you have sprint speed. If the ball is over here and you run to the ball before your opponent even gets there, why is why is it strength and aggression even important? It's important if you're next to him and you're kind of shoulder to shoulder to him. Okay, maybe. But if you're far ahead of him, the strength and aggression stat is irrelevant because all you got to do is take a touch away. And even this guy's got 99 strength. If you take a touch away safely with good agility and balance, he cannot get the ball. And that is the logic behind it. So most people that are complaining about fullbacks, the truth is it's because they rely on park the bus. If you look at the mass majority, people who cry about fullbacks, because what they do is they sit there, they park the bus, and they counter-attack. And because they can't score those counter-attacks, they then start calling everyone rats. That is the truth behind it. So take it into a tongue. I don't care if people hate me. I don't care. That's not my job. My job's not for you to like me. My job's for you to get better at the game. And that's kind of the truth behind it. So I'm not an entertainer at the end of the day, right? I'm just a guy that tries to help everyone get better at FIFA. So that is my opinion towards it. So keep going with them. High defensive work rates, good agility and balance. Try Walker and Wan-Bissaka for a whole weekend league. Don't just play 5 games because you're probably going to lose a game anyway and you're going to blame these guys. I know you are. But I can tell you, guaranteed, statistically speaking, these guys will save you more goals in a weekend league than a normal game. Yes, they might be at fault for being out of position once or twice every couple of games. Maybe, okay? But that's probably due to your, I suppose you can say, your sort of positioning, okay? You should be able to react in time. But from the counter-attacks, they will save you more times than ever. And even if they were nerfed, I'm still going to use fullbacks anyway. But that is kind of my take on it. Do whatever you want. That's my take. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. And of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.